Yes. Huh? You said what? You can be frustrated, Nicole, but when I tell you, well, you're not. No, you're not. I need you to address my. No, 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 no. Hold on, hold on. What I need you to. No, no, no. You can't. You can't. I appreciate your apology, but I really just want to deal with the issue. I don't care about I'm sorries. What I'm frustrated at is Saturday when you called me and you were crying, and I said, "Listen, Nicole, I'm going to put aside my entire week for you. I had interviews with clients to try and get work, and I did not. I was negative in the bank. Okay, and I said, I'm going to set all that aside. Just give me the half of what you were going to give the the sitter because this wasn't planned. Okay, and so then you go and do some dumb shit, and Monday you got what you wanted. I picked you up. We had a good day. You already admitted that. I mean, Sunday. I'm sorry, I said the wrong day. On Sunday, I came. I picked you up, took care of Kai, brought you to work. Yeah, you took me to the VA because of my kidney stone, and then brought me back. And then we had a good day, and you said once I left, you were sitting there stewing and got mad. Like you knew I had put aside everything for the week. Okay, so hold on. That's what I'm trying to figure out, and that's why I asked my question. This is why this is. Can you stop? I will let you talk, Nicole. I will let you talk. I'm trying to understand what happened. Nicole, I just want to know what happened when I left. When you, I haven't even formed my question yet. You want me not, you want to talk before I've even formed my question. My question is, you said that we were doing good when I picked you up. You said we were doing good when you dropped me off at the VA. You said we were doing good when you picked me up from the VA and when I dropped you off at that house. What happened between me leaving your house and getting to my house where you flipped your shit? There we go. Yes, I'm 100% down. Knowing that if you fucked me over, it would fuck me financially. Oh shit. All right, guys, we are here. Give me 1 second. I do not know why the camera's not starting. We will see. This is weird. Huh. My camera is just not there. That's weird. Ah, I see why. For some reason, it got removed. Huh. Interesting. All right. Well. All right. Do I have any viewers? All right. What's good, y'all? Let me put this link back out here. Let me go and grab a copy link address. All right. So, let's address really quickly. Just want to really quickly address what just happened here. My ex decided to start spamming me right as we got started, and I apologize about that, guys. So, it's about all I can say. So, we will transition this real quick. All right, guys, what's going on? How is everybody today? Let's zoom in. Let's go to our happy fun times. Let's go to you guys. I'm sorry, some personal issues are getting in the way. Let me be right back. My apologies. Hello. Since this weekend isn't my normal weekend. 1 second. Hold on. Let me mute this other conversation. One moment. Okay. All right, guys, sorry about that. We are here. We are live. We are good to go. I wanted to apologize to the stream for my personal conversation being broadcast. I thought I had muted it. Apparently, I had not. It is all good, though. We will take care of that as we go. All right. Yeah, I can't get a break. It is what it is. So, guys, Arvond, I apologize. I don't know. That was your first time here. I apologize that you had to witness some of my personal BS happening in real time. So, anyways, what is going on, guys? Roll call. Yeah, I tried to call her back 3 times. She ignored me, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But yeah, it is oh, it's Dusel. What's up, man? Um, so man, it's been crazy. Yo, Constantino, you back, homie? All right, guys, we have a good show tonight. So I was hoping more people would be tuning in. We'll see. We're going to the VC chat. All right. Oh, wait, on stream. Let's use the on stream like we're supposed to. All right. So, yeah, let's do this. All right, guys. So tonight we're going to be talking about what is going on with the SCOTUS and them basically invalidating the Fourth Amendment. That's a thing. It's craziness, man. It's craziness. So, basically, let's go on. We'll go over here to solo with background. All right. Oh man, that's tiny. We need to fix that. What is going on? There we go. Let's Alt Shift this, and then this, and that. All right. And then put me down here in the corner. Sorry, guys. Apparently, all of my camera settings got reset somehow. Not sure how that happened. So, fixing that real quick. There we go. And then we're going to pull a new tab down here into the bottom. Down here where we can see the damn thing. And there we go. And then Chrome. Right click, properties. And then new tab. There we go. Right. All right, guys. And let's transition this beast. Deuce doing his thing. Good to see all of you guys. All right, so.
What's up?
What's up, man? It is a crazy day. So we have the first thing we have up is the SCOTUS opinion, basically invalidating the Fourth Amendment. So this is the Egbert ruling.
Hello.
And hey, what's going on?
What did I
Welcome.
miss?
Dude, we will talk about my personal life later. I just want to apologize to everybody who heard that going on.
Oh yeah, I spam pinged you, by the way.
Bro, I had notifications turned off. I have turned them back on.
I sent
Yeah.
you DM. I called you. What the?
Bro, it was I had all notifications turned off. It's all good. Plus, I didn't have my headphones on, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways. I was in the middle of some stuff. But yeah, we will get to that. I basically told her I will call her back when I am done.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just insanity, guys. So welcome everybody.
Don't worry about
We
it.
are doing our thing. So let's talk about what's going on. So basically, SCOTUS made a ruling today that is, how do I put this nicely? I think that it's an error. That's my personal opinion. Basically, I'm pulling up the map now. Let me go here really quickly. I need to turn down the man, everything's just going wrong today. It's okay. I will get my stream back to being nice and smooth. And
Yay.
yeah, there we go. Okay. Beautiful. and then okay on that. There we go. Now we're not oversaturated. That's always a positive. Always a positive. So, okay, so I have a map for you guys. We're gonna pull it up and open up the link to it. But basically, the U.S. Supreme Court said that anyone within 100 miles of a border, federal agents can basically go into your house and do whatever they want to do. So here's the picture. So basically, this is the area where federal agents can basically go into your house without a search warrant and become violent with you when you start to stand up for your rights. The problem with this is if you look, almost 50% of the U.S. lives in these areas. Almost half of America. Oh, and also airports. Yeah, I was reading that. So it's any port of entry, so any international airport, along with within 100 miles of the border.
So shouldn't there be more cities then?
These are all of the major cities within 100 miles of the border.
What's with the San Francisco being on there?
San Francisco. Did I miss? Oh no, because they're within 100 miles of the border. They're a sea line border. So this yellow part, that's everyone that's included. The orange part is not included. But basically, this is every major city in the U.S. is pretty much included, except for Dallas, Charlotte, and that's it. All of the major cities in the top 30 are all included, except for those two. So Charlotte is barely missed here in North Carolina. And Dallas, of course, is up in this northern edge here of Texas. Those are the only two major metropolitan cities, large cities in the United States that are missing. So basically, your right to the Fourth Amendment, the right to private, basically what established the right to privacy, but it's the right to not be subject to unlawful search and seizure. Doesn't matter if you're within 100 miles of a border. Which means that 50% of America has lost their Fourth Amendment rights.
Oh, people just driving through.
Just a question. How the hell does privacy on that shit?
All right, so in the United States, an officer has to meet a bar called probable cause. They have to stop and mess with you. They have to have a belief to. It's like they can talk to you, but you can ignore them. To actually stop you and detain you, they have to have a reasonable belief that you committed a crime. Right? Okay. And so even when that is met, they still have to establish probable cause. Because, okay, reasonable suspicion. So there's levels. So you have reasonable suspicion, probable cause, warrant. Okay? Now, probable cause can establish a warranted search or a warranted basis, right? But you're immune from search without warrants. This ruling allows border agents to basically go into anyone's home that they feel like it, go onto their property, other things like that without a warrant, go into their place of residence, inside their vehicle, other things like that, refuse to leave, and then when you stand up for your rights, assault you. That's basically what this is. So let's read what the and I'm not making this up. This is not me being extreme or hyperbole. This is literally from their ruling and their findings of the facts. So let's read the findings of the facts. Respondent Robert Bull owns a bed and breakfast, the Smuggler's Inn, in Blaine, Washington. The inn abuts the international border between Canada and the United States. Bull at times helps federal agents identify and apprehend persons engaged in unlawful cross-border activity on or near his property. But Bull also would provide transportation and lodging to illegal border crossers. Often, Bull would agree to help illegal border crossers enter and exit the United States, only to later call federal agents to report the unlawful activity. In 2014, Bull informed petitioner Eric Egbert, a U.S. Border Patrol agent, that a Turkish national arriving in Seattle by way of New York had scheduled transportation to Smuggler's Inn. When Agent Egbert observed one of Bull's vehicles returning to the inn, he suspected that the Turkish national was a passenger and followed the vehicle to the inn. On Bull's account, Bull asked Egbert to leave, but Egbert refused, became violent, and threw Bull against the vehicle and then to the ground. Egbert then checked the immigration paperwork for Bull's guest and left after finding everything in order, meaning the person wasn't who he thought he was. He basically said, hey, where's your papers? Like a Nazi Gestapo. And I'm sorry, we have an Austrian in here. That's not meant as anything towards you. It's a phrase. It's phraseology we hear. Use here.
Hey,
Yeah.
no, don't do
Okay. So Egbert then checked the immigration paperwork for Bull's guest, left after finding everything in order. The Turkish guest unlawfully entered Canada later that evening. Bull filed a grievance with Agent Egbert's supervisor, an administrative claim with the border agent pursuant to the Federal Tort Claims Act. Egbert allegedly retaliated against Bull by reporting Bull's smuggler license plate, blah, blah, blah. So basically, he filed a complaint for tort to allow him to sue the agent. So there's this thing called qualified immunity. I'm going to have to get Matt back on here so we can talk about this. But basically, you had 4 things happen. There was no reasonable suspicion to believe a crime had been committed. He had no idea who was in the vehicle. All right? He had no reason to perform a traffic stop. Right? He had no reason to be on. Once Bull asked Egbert to leave his property, the officer was obligated to obey trespassing law. Okay? That is from what I understand here. All right? Was obligated to obey trespassing laws under normal circumstances. They use some parts of archaic law in order to override this. All right? And we'll get into that in a minute. But normally, under normal circumstances, if a law enforcement officer is just trying to conduct a conversation with you, meaning he has no reason to believe you committed a crime, and he has to have reasonable belief, right? And reasonable belief is this really hard thing to talk about. And reasonable belief isn't just, I think that the person with you is someone, right? With no basis to that. It's just a hunch, right? I don't have a picture. I wasn't aware that you were going to pick up this person at a certain time. I'm just assuming because we talked about something earlier that this must be the person. That's not reasonable belief, right? That's a hunch. That's an assumption. Assumptions are not reasonable belief. You have to have some factual foundation to the assumption. All right? So, at the end of the day, it should have been over the moment he asked him to leave his property. Instead, when he asked him to leave his property and asserted his rights for him to leave his property, the agent responded by becoming violent because he had been approached and asked to leave. By basically placing Mr. Bull's hand, grabbing his arm and using a pick move, what they call a pick move, to basically pull his arm behind him, pull his wrist in, and push him up against his vehicle. He then placed Mr. Bull under detainment. I don't know if handcuffs were placed or not. But this basically allows them to... There was no reason to believe that the person with him was the Turkish person. He had no... It was an absolute assumption. There were no facts to provide for that assumption, other than they'd have a previous discussion about this person had obtained transport from New York. He had no reason to believe that Mr. Bull would be transporting him. Egbert was entirely in the wrong here. Unfortunately for him, there is standing law around this. It's archaic law, and there's a lot of law that's on his side, but unfortunately there's archaic law that will support it. So he was suing in order to be able to breach the agent's qualified immunity, saying that the agent acted illegally in an unlawful manner because he committed trespass and assault without reasonable belief or reasonable suspicion that a crime had been committed, and proceeded then to violate everyone's rights. All right, so I'm going to save you guys. So I read this entire thing, guys. All right, I read this entire thing. It boils down to one really simple one really simple juxtaposition, and that is the Constitution in the 100-mile border zone. The Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects Americans from random and arbitrary stops and searches. According to the government, however, these basic constitutional principles do not apply fully at our borders. Now, the question is how wide is the zone outside of the border? Okay,
Wow, 100 kilometers definitely.
100 miles.
Yeah,
No, miles,
whatever,
way
that's even
bigger.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 kilometers is
So 100 kilometers is 60 miles. Yeah. So this is basically 160 kilometers. Yo, ridiculous. Whatever. Okay, we're gonna go. Even in places far removed from the border, deep into the interior country, immigration officials enjoy broad, not limitless power. Specifically, federal regulations give U.S. Customs and Border Protection authority to operate within 100 miles of any U.S. external boundary. In this 100-mile zone, Border Patrol agents have certain additional authorities. For instance, Border Patrol can operate immigration checkpoints. Border Patrol, nevertheless, cannot pull anyone over without reasonable suspicion. The thing I was just talking about. I didn't even know this. I haven't read this yet. Of an immigration violation or crime. Reasonable suspicion is much more than a hunch. Oh my God, they're taking the words from me. I did not read this beforehand. I just was told it was on point. So... the ACLU usually provides good stuff about search and seizures, so even they become politically biased, they're still a good source for this stuff. Border Patrol, yeah, so similarly, Border Patrol cannot search vehicles in the 100-mile zone without a warrant or probable cause. In practice, Border Patrol agents routinely ignore and misunderstand the limits of their legal authority in the course of individual stops. All right, so qualified immunity means if I make a mistake, I'm immune from prosecution, okay? Now, in order to overcome immunity, you have to prove two things. Not just the intent of the action, but knowledge that the action was illegal. How do you prove that? Well, correspondence, previous or current, conversations, other things like that. But you would be dumb as a border agent to say, yeah, this thing I did the other day, I knew it was illegal as fuck, and put it in writing. Don't do that. Like, very simple. Police officers have the same thing that is called qualified immunity. It has to show that they were purposeful or their negligence arose to such a level that they had to have known that it would have brought them into the level of committing a crime. There's a whole pronged approach that I'm not going to get into law. I'm not a lawyer. We're not going to talk about interpretations of the law. We're going to talk about what I know from what I've been told from lawyers and from what I've seen in law practices, okay? And working in law practices. So, all right. So, Border Patrol agents regularly ignore and misunderstand the limits of their legal authority in the course of individual stops, resulting in violations of the constitutional rights of innocent people. The problems are compounded by inadequate training of Border Patrol agents, a lack of oversight by CBP and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the consistent failure of CBP. That's Customs and Border Patrol, by the way, guys, to hold agents accountable for abuse. No matter what CBP officers and Border Patrol agents thinks, our Constitution applies throughout the United States and within its 100-mile border zone. All right, guys. So this was written on June 21st, 2018, before this issue was taken up. There are clearly problems with this stop. This was taken all the way to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has basically said that hunches are good enough for Border Patrol agents due to the fact that their job can interact with the national security of the United States. It relies on quite a few laws that happen to do with national security, along with some laws that were meant for the FBI but now apparently extend to Border Patrol for some reason. And also where the FBI had other requirements they had to meet, the Border Patrol does not have to meet those requirements because they're immune from them under certain laws that are meant for only the Border Patrol within this 100-mile exclusion zone. It allows warrantless search, warrantless stops, warrantless occupation of your dwelling, warrantless trespass, All right. This is literally the overturning of the Fourth Amendment. It doesn't exist anymore within this 100-mile zone. Now, okay, it's 100 miles. The United States is fucking gigantic. Okay, well, unfortunately, most of the United States, 50% of our population, it's about 42.1% of our population live within 100 miles of our borders. Because the center of the United States is more cropland and stuff like that. Utah, which is Salt Lake City, etc., those are exceptions. Those are gigantic cities in the middle of barren states, right? If you look at, well, New Mexico, it's still, let me go back and look at the map. So does Albuquerque? Nope, Albuquerque doesn't fall into it. But Albuquerque is another exception. New Mexico, absolutely barren until you get to Albuquerque. Arizona, until you get to Flagstaff, it's really, really, really... And Phoenix, those are the only two large cities. Everything else is barren in that state, okay? It's insane. So, it's crazy. All right, let's check on chat real quick. All right, so it says... Northern Lights is going off. If one amendment goes, what's next? Per Biden 5, the Constitution, the Second Amendment was never absolute. No amendments are absolute anymore after this. Dude, I fear for this country. If we're going to say that by mixing two sets of laws, because the laws in and of themselves are not unconstitutional separate, when combined together, they create an unconstitutional trinity. Unfortunately, they've shown how you can now get around creating unconstitutional laws. What you do is you give part of the powers over here in this law, and then you give part of the powers over here in this other law, right? And because they're in two separate laws, neither law is unconstitutional, but given them together, they're unconstitutional. That's what this is setting up. It's insanity. There's Colorado, but that doesn't exist. I mean, outside of Denver, and Red Rock, what else they got? Denver, Colorado. That they're again not barren. So that they basically shown, the court has said that you see, the court strikes down laws. They don't strike down a series of laws. So you have to have, you can't bring more than one law up for debate, right? In the same court case. It's a shortcoming of our system. And I'm surprised no one has figured this out before, because it's a critical problem. You just put the two pieces of powers and several pieces of legislation, and so you have to know which one to challenge. You have to bring forth which law are you saying is unconstitutional. You can't challenge two laws at once, unless you're saying that the law has to be ruled unconstitutional on its own, in et percetum, right? Within its perspective, right? So by itself, you can't put the two together and say, well, together these two laws create an unconstitutional authority. That's not within the court's purview. Is that specific law unconstitutional? It's insane. Okay, well, Boulder, yeah, but still. This is fucked, guys.
Do we know whose idea this was?
I think it happened by accident.
How can something like this happen by accident?
Because when they were writing the stuff for Border Patrol, they gave them specific authorities and stuff like that, and it was a law from like the 1960s, right? And part of it's our constitutional laws from like the 1920s. And then the laws that were written for FBI, and then the Patriot Act, of course, came in the mid-2000s and the mid-90s. So, I mean, unless they were coordinating across 70 years.
So, if it was an accident and really nobody really wants this law, why can...
Oh, no, they have no... They can... But it benefits people in power.
Yeah, of course it does, but...
They're going to act like they care. What they're going to do is they're going to act like they care, right? And then they're not actually going to care. They won't actually give a shit. And yeah, that's basically what's going to happen. They're going to act like they give a shit.
But if it's if it benefits them, how can we say it was an accident?
It's a great question, to which I do not know the answer.
Too bad.
What I do know is that so they'll act outraged so people will vote for them, but they're not gonna overturn these 2 laws. They're too big. And all they would have to do, so we have this thing that's called severability, which means you could sever a part of a law and the rest of it still stand, right? But the parts of the law in question are actually necessary by themselves in the piece of legislation that they're given in for the purpose of execution. But these 2 pieces of authority that are given in these 3 separate pieces of legislation, right? When amalgamated and used for this purpose, are not within the original scope that people were thinking of. So you can't really get rid of. So here's the thing. It's very hard to get a warrant against someone who's not a United States citizen. So of course we need the ability for Border Patrol agents at the border, like straddling the border, to be able to do warrantless searches. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I don't know if I agree, but I understand.
All right, so our Mexico border, right? To have to go before a judge takes, a day or 2, right? We have someone who's trying to gain access to port right then. We can't just hold them for a day. That's against their civil rights. So we need the ability for them to be able to do searches without warrants at our border to stop drugs and other things from coming in, or else smuggling would just be wide open. So at the same time, we never foresaw the advent of the Homeland Security agency, which was created under the same law the Patriot Act was included in. And then the Patriot Act allowed some extensions of authority for the purpose of national security, right? Well, Homeland Security is responsible for national security, and Homeland Security falls under Homeland Security.
No.
So, yeah. How do I put this nicely? So, yep. Oh, we're going to go watch the January 6th stuff. Are they having a hearing right now?
I guess so. I haven't heard anything about it.
Me either.
What about January 6th?
Oh, wait. No. They're, Oh, they're live right now? What the hell? Yeah, they're live right now. Guys, we're going to cut to this.
What happened on January 6th?
No. It's that's when people went into the Capitol. Hey guys, let's watch January 6th stuff real quick.
The capital. I thought you mean capital city. Okay, that's interesting.
Capitol hearing live.
I was
Oh, man.
born, raised, and still live in Bolton, Mississippi, a town with a population of 521.
This is the one where they
which
hired
is
a
midway
producer.
between Jackson and Vicksburg, Mississippi, and the Mississippi River. I'm from a part of the country where people justify the actions of slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, and lynching. I'm reminded of that dark history as I hear voices today try and justify the actions of the insurrectionists on January 6, 2021. Over the next few weeks, hopefully you will get to know the other members, my colleagues up here, and me. We represent a diversity of communities from all over the United States, rural areas and cities, East Coast, West Coast, and the Heartland. All of us have one thing in common. we swore the same oath. That same oath that all members of Congress take upon taking office and afterwards every 2 years if they are reelected. We swore an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The words of the current oath taken by all of us that nearly every United States government employee takes have their roots in the Civil War. Throughout our history, the United States has fought against foreign enemies to preserve our democracy, electoral system, and country. When the United States Capitol was stormed and burned in 1814, foreign enemies were responsible. Afterward, in 1862, when American citizens had taken up arms against this country, Congress adopted a new oath to help make sure no person who had supported the rebellion could hold a position of public trust. Therefore, Congresspersons and United States federal government employees were required for the first time to swear an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That oath was put to test on January 6th. I took that
when I joined the military. I'm aware of it.
The police officers who held the line that day honored their oath.
You mean held the door?
Many came out of that day blooded and broken. They still bear those wounds, visible and invisible. They did their duty. They repelled the mob and ended the occupation of the Capitol. They defended the Constitution against domestic enemies so that Congress could return, uphold our own oath, and count your votes to ensure the transfer of power, just as we've done for hundreds of years. But unlike in 1814, it was domestic enemies of the Constitution who stormed the Capitol and occupied the Capitol, who sought to thwart the will of the people to stop the transfer of power. And so they did, so at the encouragement of the President of the United States.
That's a slanderous statement.
Of the United States, trying to stop the transfer of power, a precedent that had stood for 220 years, even as our democracy had faced its most difficult tests. Thinking back again to the Civil War in the summer of 1864, the President of the United States believed we would be doomed to his bid for re-election. He believed his opponent, General George McClellan, would wave the white flag when it came to preserving the Union. But even with that grim fate hanging in the balance, President Lincoln was ready to accept the will of the voters, come what may. He made a quiet pledge. He wrote down the words, "This morning, as for some days past, it seems exceedingly probable that this administration will not be reelected. Then it will be my duty to so cooperate with the president-elect. It will be my duty." Lincoln sealed that memo and asked his cabinet secretaries to sign it sight unseen. He asked them to make the same commitment he did, to accept defeat.
Kind of sus.
Indeed, defeat was the will of the people, to uphold the rule of law, to do whatever.
I lost a bunch of people when I went and talked about this real quick.
And whatever president.
You know what? We're not gonna give this any. Y'all, this is the problem right here. We're losing rights while they're sitting here talking about insurrection. You guys want to see an insurrection? I can show you one. I helped train soldiers to fight one. I'm not going to say where. It was a private contractor. But let me tell you something. Insurrectionists have weapons. People who are trespassing and what's the word I want to use here? Being obnoxious and interrupting things so that they can't proceed is not the same as insurrection. Insurrection requires a level of violence that you did not see on January 6th. I have a problem with that narrative.
Shoot the guy?
Huh?
Didn't they shoot the guy?
They shot a woman.
We tried to go through a secured area.
Yeah, she was reaching into she was just her. So the video, they were saying she tried to go in a secure area, but in the video she's just looking through the window shouting at them, and they just plug her in the face. They try to say she was reaching in, but when you look at the video, she clearly was not reaching in the door. She was just taunting them, and they decided to plug her in the face. So at the end of the day, it's just you have to wonder, like, I'm going to be very careful on how I choose my words here. Listen, guys, I don't believe that there are trauma actors or anything like Alex Jones or stuff like that. I just believe that this huge culmination of a bunch of shootings being covered all at once and happening all at once, right as a certain specific party is losing ground, and it seems to be quite... It just seems very convenient. And I think it happened. I believe there are real people who have suffered. I really don't trust either side at this point because they just do dirty ass shit. And I'm at the point where I'm not sure I would put it past them to not to order a police chief not to intercede or other things like that. I think they're both losing ground, and I think they're scared as fuck. But definitely right now the Democrats. But I don't know what to say. Someone was talking. What's up?
The thing is, isn't this all very speculative? And aren't there better arguments against the Democrats? I mean, the Democrats are a fucked up party, but I think these are one of the weaker arguments against them because they're very speculative.
Well, right now, no. Well, right now they lost. So every early election that has happened so far, seats that were solidly blue have been lost to Republicans, and it looks like Democrats are going to get pushed out in a way they haven't been pushed out historically in decades. I agree, Tarkin. Both parties are definitely guilty of evil acts. I'm going to be very careful. I think that there is reasonable suspicion. Okay, 9/11 happened. Let me be very clear. I'm very aware that 9/11. I've been there. All right. So I want, before anybody goes down that path. No. I believe that we knew we had it. So we know that we had intelligence about it, and that intelligence was ignored. And it was credible intelligence on a cell that was. Okay, guys, when you're rating cells, okay, and whether they're actually able to carry out the things they're talking about, you look at training, organization, other things like that, fungibility, shit like that. It's just, dude, guys, it's insane to me that all of a sudden the media just picks up. Okay, the two shootings, let's say that's coincidental, but then they all start covering mass shootings that are day-to-day occurrences that they normally didn't give a fuck about. You guys saw me get mad last night because until it met their needs, no one gave a shit about gangland shootings. You know how many friends I've had die to gun violence? How many friends I've had die, and that really upset me. Go ahead, sorry.
I get that, but still I think just pointing them out for covering shootings is a weak point. I think you can do better than...
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I hope so.
I want to cover the SCOTUS stuff first, but it's insanity. I think this is a chase, and guys, this is a distraction. January 6th doesn't matter when stuff like this is going on, right? It's all a big, I mean, they're literally making a show out of it. We talked about it, but we're losing our rights. This is a constitutional ruling that says that officers can invade your home, invade your privacy, search your car, occupy your house, and you can do nothing about it. And if you do, you can be assaulted by an officer. And it's 100%.
This is a better point.
Yeah, this is 100%. Like, this is all show. right? That whole January 6th thing, nothing's going to come from that. They're going to try to score points. The Democrats are going to vote against Trump. The Republicans are going to vote, well, no, because they chose one. They chose, so the Democrats got to choose who was on the January 6th committee, and they chose Republicans who were clearly aligned against Trump. It's not fair in any way. And it's insanity, man. It's insanity. Why does it say I have one viewer? Okay, cool. Whatever. They will use this to search homes of legal gun owners. I was thinking that too. But again, that's speculative. But we've been looking down this slippery slope for a long time. We said, where we've had argument, well, we would never use this for this, or we would never use this for that. And I don't want to really jump into the whole trans argument, but that's one of the things I can think of. It's just every time that things like this happen, we would never let it be abused by this. But right now we have someone that their private property was trampled upon. Their privacy in their home was trampled upon. All right. Curtilage is part of your home, guys. Curtilage is your driveway. It's just the legal name for it. All right. Like, you can be searched. It's authoritarianism. And I've been saying that we seem to be going more and more and more authoritarian, and it's insanity. It's just insanity. It's just straight insanity. I just don't even know what to say at this point. We've made our point. It has a foundation in law, and the way they did it, the way it ended up, I think it was purely by accident. No one crafted this. No one was smart enough to craft it this way. Though I'm surprised at that, because it was simple enough to defeat. Either our court system is going to have to change, which takes Congress to sort of adjust how they can hear things and what they can do. Which, why would Congress give away that authority so that the judicial branch can have more authority over them and what they pass? I don't see that happening. We just don't have people with integrity. Go ahead, sorry.
Congress.
All right, so we have two bodies, right? So you have Congress is where a state is represented by how many people it has, right? And so larger states have more people representing them in Congress. Then you have the Senate. And the Senate is where every state has two representatives, no matter size.
What the fuck?
It stops the majority from overruling the minority. So when a house is passed in the Senate, it has to go to Congress. When a law is passed in Congress, it has to go to the Senate. And both of them have to approve it. All right? And so you can have two of the same bills passed in two different houses with changes amongst them, and then they do this process called reconciliation. And then once they get everything reconciled, they vote on it a final time, and law passes. And then that law goes before our president to be signed, and that's how bills get passed. So no, they can't revoke your citizenship. At least that I'm aware of. That we don't have a legal route for exile in the United States. You cannot be exiled. You cannot be exiled in the United States, i.e., lose your citizenship.
Okay, that is. The
Sorry, I was
Senate-
answering a question.
We have a Senate in Austria, but we don't have a Congress.
No natural-born citizen has ever lost their citizenship that I am aware of. Hold on. U.S. citizens can never be stripped of their U.S. citizenship or nationality with limited exceptions. Also, they can give citizenship up voluntarily. Naturalized citizens are the only one who can have their citizenship revoked. And this is only when they acquired their citizenship illegally, not being actually eligible for naturalization. or by deliberate deceit. By voluntary act with specific intent. Voluntarily perform any of 7 expatriating acts. Okay, let me bring this over. Now that I've for the U.S. government to claim and prove someone has given up U.S. citizenship would not be easy. It's not enough for the U.S. government to say the person performed an expatriating act, such as joining a foreign military force. The person must also be shown to have intended to thereby give up the U.S. citizenship. So you have to do these things, and they have to prove you had intent. Remember I said intent is hard to prove. So, yeah, it's one of these 7. That's it. But they also have to prove this. There's another piece that's important to it. Committing any following will create a presumption that was performed voluntarily with the idea of giving up U.S. citizenship. Becoming a naturalized citizen of another country. Formally declaring allegiance to a foreign government after age 18. Accepting a position in the government of another country after age 18 if one has citizenship or declared allegiance to that country. Well, why do you think there's... You guys do know there's passports you can literally buy, right? You can buy citizenship in many countries. It's how rich people get secondary passports to travel on. It's also a great way to get passports if you want to get out of the U.S. and you can't get one in the U.S. It's fucked up. If you're a naturalized citizen, if you commit a felony, they can revoke your citizenship, by the way. Has to be a really heinous one, though. So, anyways. Oops. Let's go back to that. So, no, it's just insanity. Hold on, I'm reading some... I'm getting warned by some people not to touch the Texas shooting details, as apparently people have been getting banned on YouTube for talking about them as a conspiracy theory, even though they're backed by some facts. But, okay. Got it. Can they eat her? That's very rare. You have to do something really serious to lose it. Oh, what's Tobias doing? Oh, watch stream. Oh, he's playing... yeah, he's playing motocross. All right. So, man, it's insanity. All right, guys. Well, listen, I have to give a hats off. We're going to keep it short tonight. So we're probably going to go in about another 10, 15 minutes. But tomorrow will be a full stream. Yeah, I got to do some more research. The thing I was going to go deep into tonight was the Texas shooting, and I just got informed by Ricada and 2 other streams. One got banned today for covering what I was about to cover, so it sort of throws a wrench in my plans. I just worry about what's going to happen to the First Amendment if they can do this. So the Fourth Amendment. Here's how you get away with it, right? So the Fourth Amendment is sort of seen as supporting criminals and helping criminals and all that, right? So they attacked an amendment that's not always popular with everybody, because people don't understand that that's also the thing that gives you the right to privacy. It's the same amendment. There is no actual right to privacy in the United States. The Fourth Amendment, the extension of the Fourth Amendment is what gives that. So if they make the Second Amendment unpopular enough, they can do the same thing. It is kind of sketch. I don't want to say a lot, Northern. I want to be careful what I say. I need to talk to my lawyer and Ricada and this other guy on this other channel who is actually a lawyer who had a police officer on with him, and they were talking about the tactical decisions and how they just appear really unusual, and that it just seems malice. It just seems that something went really, really wrong and horrible, and what those possibilities could be. So The question is, how do you make the First Amendment really unpopular?
Can you read those amendments anywhere?
Yeah, so you can read the Constitution anywhere, but the First Amendment is the right to free speech and a free press. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what the Third Amendment is. The Fourth Amendment is the right against unlawful search and seizure. So let me. We'll pull up the Constitution. I ain't got no problem doing that. Yeah, let's pull up the Constitution. Constitution of America.
No,
Alright.
Can you read it? I mean, can I read it anyway? Is there a link?
Yeah. Hold on. So there's the sections, Article 2, Article 3. List of amendments. Here we go. I'll put it in VC chat. Boom. There we go. So yeah, First Amendment protects freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly, and the right to petition the government. Second, protects the right to keep and bear arms. Third, restricts the quartering of soldiers in private homes. That's right. Which I think, but they're not soldiers, they're law enforcement agents. Fourth, prohibits unreasonable search and seizures and sets requirements for search warrants based on probable cause. Fifth, sets out rules for indictment by a grand jury and eminent domain, protects the right to due process. So the fifth is about property rights and also how you can be indicted by a grand jury. And talks about self-incrimination, double jeopardy. Yep. Six is the right to speedy trial that doesn't really exist. But it gives you, this is the one I was talking about before. The Sixth Amendment gives you the ability to confront your accuser. That's why it's hard to prosecute internationally or for states to prosecute across state lines. Eighth Amendment is important. Prohibits excessive fines and excessive bail, as well as cruel and unusual punishment. The purpose of bail is not to punish, by the way, guys. The amendment was adopted and serves limitation upon unduly harsh penalties criminal after before or after commission. Limit applies equally price of obtaining pretrial release, punishment of a crime after commission. Yeah. So it says that it's not supposed to be excessive. So, but they violate that shit all the time. I had to put up 25 grand minimum to make my bail. Fortunately, I had way more than that, so I was able to put up my bail in full. But to get a bondsman to get me out, I would have had to put up $25,000, and I don't know a lot of people who have 25 grand in the bank. It's insanity. It is insanity. All right. Oof, man, it's crazy. I just don't know where we're going with this after this. It's just, I don't know where we go, dudes. I hope we'll be okay. You know, it is what it is. All right, guys. Well, they'll say that the First Amendment doesn't apply to them, but Article 230 does. Chapter 230 does. So I think we need Chapter 230 reforms, because though it spells out what they can't do, it doesn't spell out any punishment for when they do it. All right, well, let's not go too extreme inside of the chat, guys. You know, Green Archist, I'll have to look up what that is. Me and Tobias actually had a pretty decent conversation about the different parts of hold on. It's in the other chat, and I can't get to it without leaving this stream. But we were looking at the whole diagram, and then I discovered a whole bunch of different political persuasions that I was unaware of. So that's a thing. All right, let's see. General chat. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, well then, my bad. It's cool. I already found a stream. Got shot down in chat. All right. Well, we will be doing the Capitol hearings tomorrow, I think. I'm gonna call it a short night tonight. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. About 20 minutes of that, so about an hour. All right, guys. I'm sorry, guys. The subject I was gonna be on got shot down. I need to go talk with some legal representation about it, and we'll probably come back with it tomorrow because I really want to talk about it. I just don't want to get banned from YouTube because I can already tell. I've already gotten and had an issue once. I don't need another one right now. So. You feel me? I can appreciate that, Northern. All right, my dude. Well, love all you guys. I will talk at you later. Have a good night. Peace.